And welcome everybody back to the Built Different Show. So this is going to be number 6. I'm here with Wolfie, and we're going to dig right in. Just as a reminder, as always, make sure you guys like and subscribe and leave some feedback. If you go to builtdifferentpod.com below in our comments, you can find our email where you can hit us up for any inquiries, anything that you'd like. Wolfie, how the hell are you, man?
My sports teams haven't been too good recently, so pretty shit in that direction. I mean, Knicks are eliminated, even though they gave us a good season. Mets are kind of train wrecking right now. But at the same time, like it's fun to have all these sports going on at once. You know, I'm not a big hockey fan, but Rangers are still in it too. Football's, if you can believe it, is like right around the corner. So, I mean, for my team's not doing well, like kind of sucks. But everything else is, it's good to have sports back though in full swing.
No, I absolutely feel you there, man. I mean, the Washington Nationals, I'll say this, man. We have about 4 outfielders up. Robles, Joey Gallo, Winker, and Rosario. All of them are struggling mightily, but we won't call up James Woods, so I don't really know what's going on with that. The Knicks just got eliminated, so... but hey, there was a fight in NASCAR. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Yeah, there's some fines dropped too. I think I didn't see the exact fine of it, but I don't know. I kind of like it. I know there were some people in the comments I was seeing on some of the videos saying it's like a P move. And I'm like, dude, no, it's good to see people fighting. That's like the rowdy racing.
Yeah, I guess people's big issue with it too is that NASCAR is they're spreading the video of the fight everywhere. They're promoting it so heavily. But they still pass down fines and suspensions and everything.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. Yeah.
I mean, I thought it was hilarious because they were racing for $1 million. They were sweaty on lap number 1, and the dude Ricky Stenhouse that threw the punch, he waited from lap 2 till the end of the race to throw that punch, and I just thought that was hilarious. He literally waited the whole couple hours until it was over, and he still carried on the anger.
And they had the whole cruise there. His pops was even there fighting too.
Yeah, I mean, Kyle Busch fucking punched his pops a couple of times.
You know what's funny too, and obviously it was real. It was real, but it's funny kind of the way they had the camera.
How fake it looked.
Yeah, it was almost it's dude, they were waiting for that shit to happen. They're so happy. Dude, that video.
So that's
had,
my thing. It's
a lot of likes.
NASCAR puts suspensions on it, but it's also why like you said, why were all the cameras sitting there? Everyone was sitting there just waiting for it to go down. It was at lunch, everyone just meets up in a circle to just fucking 2 people are gonna fight. It's the talk of the school, and everyone was just prepared and ready for it.
Well,
but NASCAR fights are hilarious because they're all bad, man. All NASCAR fights are they're all bad. They're all terrible. They're all funny.
They have no idea how to throw a punch. And it's funny, too, because you're right. I didn't even think about that. Even in other sports, imagine if, NBA, football, or baseball, a player's going to the other sidelines, and they're just yo, get the camera, and just, follow him. It would never happen. They break that shit up right away.
Right. Oh, my God. Honestly, that might be a good question for other podcasts. What if there was, fights just allowed in fucking other sports? Baseball and... I mean, baseball, they've been kind of lenient lately, as we see.
I was going to say, it's weird when you think about it, because even though they do suspensions, it's funny because... Think about it, even just if any job you've ever worked at, bro, if you're throwing a punch at your coworker, you're done. You're done. But, here, it's kind of
Bro, I'm never going to step foot in that fucking place again. They're going to do a restraining order against me in that spot.
Bro, you're probably going to jail. It's not dude, there, it's and even with some of these teams, I don't know as much about Stenhouse's specific team, but, with a lot of these clubs, sometimes the clubs even pay off the fines. So it's
yeah.
It's it's just a way to get your anger out. That's pretty awesome.
Oh man, gotta love it. I wish NASCAR just got more attention because it's honestly at the end of the day, it's kind of actually pretty funny, pretty entertaining at the end of the day.
If I'm not mistaken, I actually read social media wise, this is actually one of the best years they've had on Twitter and stuff like that with engagements.
I mean, they've been rising up in popularity because they're doing more new stuff.
Yeah, and you gotta promote stuff like that. You gotta kind of
And Bubba Wallace has brought a lot of fame to the sport.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
that's a touchy subject. So we'll move, we'll move on. So what is, in your eyes, the worst contract of all time in sports? Now, before you answer, I want to make a point real quick. And I want to say that, listen, anybody can say that, for example, Steven Strasburg, anyone can say that that contract was terrible, right? 7 years, 240 some million, only pitched like 8 games, retired. John Wall, you know, got paid the first, I think he was the richest player in NBA at one point. Missed the whole first 2 years of his contract, was sat, I think, the fourth year by Houston. Alex Rodriguez was a contract that hindered the Yankees for a while. But I think those contracts shouldn't be the worst contracts of all time, just because I think those contracts were earned by the performance before. Because if those players were hurt on, let's say, the last year of their contract and they were never paid that money, we'd probably be sitting here talking like, oh, shit, you know, they should have been paid. And I know, you know, A-Rod was paid, you know, by Texas before that. But, you know, I think those contracts shouldn't qualify. I mean, maybe you have a rebuttal to that. But I don't think those contracts should qualify just because they were earned. Like Strasburg, I'll always say, we paid him whatever. He only played 8 games, but he got the World Series MVP. It was more than deserved.
Oh, which is actually the reason why I kept him and specifically A-Rod off, because I saw a video that they were some of the top ones that people said for baseball. And, dude, I'm telling you as a Met fan right now, I would take any one of those contracts to guarantee me a World Series any day of the week. Like, not it wouldn't even be a question. It's like not a question. The whole point is to win the World Series or
if they told you that, like, you know, Pete Alonso gets paid. If you had to offer Pete Alonso $60 million a year for 10 years, he goes off and hits the most home runs in playoff history, and you guys win a World Series, but he's not going to play another game after that. I'm sure you fucking take that if it means a World Series win.
I would have took that with Matt Harvey. If you would go back to 2015 and he like never pitched again, I would have took it. So,
damn, Matt Harvey really had a downfall, man.
Oh my god. Which is actually one of the main reasons that I kept those guys off, but there's a bunch of contracts obviously out there that are bad. I think the one of recent memory, though, that's really bad is Jamarcus Russell. I mean, dude.
That's mine.
Yeah. Was it? No way. It wasn't actually. Yeah, dude. His is so...
Have you read into the story of that guy?
I watched the whole video on it. I forgot to give credit to whoever made it, but it was amazing. Like, dude, the shit that was going on with him, like, he legitimately did not care. And, like, he walked away... Bro, he basically walked away with about $40 million for doing shit. Like, jack shit. Like, from day one. Like, he basically got drafted, gained a ton of weight, spending money, paying people off. I mean, it was crazy, like, his whole backstory.
Yeah. I mean, so, like, with him, I thought it was crazy because the Raiders were put into this position where they drafted him. And without him even playing, he wanted this ridiculous contract, or he said he wasn't going to play. And I'm just, I remember reading into this so many times, and every time I read it, especially this time, I'm just like, how did the Raiders get conned into this first off? Like, and then this guy gained so much weight in one off season, and I think they only ended up paying him like $30 million because he only lasted like a couple seasons, but... I think that was probably an embarrassment because it set them back a bit. Because obviously, I believe he was drafted with the first pick, right?
Yes, if I'm not mistaken, it was the first pick. And let's just say if not, it was in the top 5. But I'm pretty sure he was the number 1 pick.
Let me look real quick. I'll cut this dead air out.
Or at least
he was drafted with the first pick in 2007. So you're talking, and if we look at that draft class real fast, you know, Jesus. So they drafted him over guys like Calvin Johnson, even like, you know, an offensive tackle like, you know, Joe Thomas. There was Adrian Peterson later in that draft. Darrelle Revis was a guy. I mean, obviously some of these guys you don't take at first as the number 1, but... They basically drafted this guy number 1 when, you know, maybe they could have had Megatron because Kelvin Johnson was that guy. He was that guy in college. He was that guy, you know, in the combine. He was just a freak of nature. And who knows what could have happened, for them if they didn't draft Jamarcus Russell, because he conned them. It was bad, man. Like it was just like you said.
And the thing I don't understand too is that, I mean, it's probably is a simple answer to this. I mean, the coaching staff, obviously, and the players were all against it, but apparently the front ownership wanted it. But dude, there's got to be some sort of ruling where if like a draft pick, especially a top draft pick, doesn't play, like you could get some sort of there's got to be something. You force him to play.
Yeah, he wasn't ready. He wasn't physically ready to play until I believe the last game of that first season.
And that's the thing. So it's not even like he was ready. So like, how did they like? Did no one like ghost check on him? Was this all done on the fucking phone or something? Like no one's because apparently like
was 2007 that hardcore?
Plus, you're telling me if he wasn't ready to the end of the season, his training camps and all that at least even before the main camp, whatever they saw of him couldn't have been that great since then to the contract actual signing. So I don't understand, like, in a way, I almost blame more ownership than him. I mean, dude, if someone's going to offer it to you and they're dumb enough to give it to you, I mean, obviously going to take it. But the thing that really hampers him, though, or excuse me, hampers the league from that, is it's not just a bad contract, but it's a bad contract given to a first draft pick. And now going forward, a lot of teams probably aren't going to do that. And I'm not saying they should, but but if you're a player going forward, it's kind of like, oh man, like you screwed the rest of us now, because now every team's going to go back to you as an example, which they all do. And it just kind of ruins it for the future. So it's not just a bad contract for the team, it's for the whole league and future players.
And I just can't believe he conned them like that. I would say if I did have another contract, though, I think that Orioles Chris Davis one was pretty bad. And I get it. He had a season there that he looked like really, on top of the world. But like we knew who Chris Davis was at heart. He was a big strikeout guy, very big streaky guy. And honestly, that's one contract that I can say there that completely shut down the Orioles because they didn't really have a lot of money to begin with. It's the Baltimore Orioles. And two, like that contract, as you can remember that contract fucking hurt them hard. Like they were paying that contract up until I think like 3 or 4 years ago.
Didn't it also kind of hamper them from getting Machado too? Because they were still kind of locked on that one. Because I don't think they.
Because like Machado, like as you know, Machado wanted money. He wanted to go explore free agency, so they couldn't offer him. And that was the thing. Like it's kind of like the Rays, right? And I don't mean to use this as an example, but it's like they finally give Wander Franco money. He ends up touching kids, and it's like, well, why should we give anybody else fucking money? And that's probably what it was. We gave Chris Davis all this money. What's to say, you're going to get this money and you're going to fucking suck. That probably scarred their organization as to why the answer to our question as to why they're not so fucking aggressive in free agency or, really just overall aggressive.
That one I completely agree actually did that. Like, I think the Rays are like, we're not doing that anymore. Again, especially with young prospects. And that's another example of teams doing it to young prospects when you don't know.
Yeah, the Rays are just such a crazy organization, man.
Oh my gosh.
I still can't believe their craziest free agency contract is fucking Zach Eflin.
And what's crazy, too, is they keep winning.
And that's the thing that is so crazy. They got so lucky with a good manager hire, in my eyes, of Kevin Cash. And like the talent that they produced beforehand, when they had, David Price and Matt Moore and BJ Upton, Carl Crawford, Carlos Pena, all those guys. Because like they're, in my eyes, they're no different than the Oakland Athletics. It's just the Oakland Athletics have been severely unlucky compared to the Tampa Bay Rays, in my eyes. I mean... Yeah.
And you can even make an argument, not even just the A's, but pretty much any small market team. Like, even like a team like... Obviously, they spend a little bit more, but even like the Mariners, they're not ones to go out and spend big money, and they're actually doing pretty good, too.
And that's a fair point, but what I really mean by that is, like, the Rays and the Athletics do the same thing. They get a core group of guys for like 3-4 years, win as much as they can with them, trade them all off. New core group of guys, 3-4 years, trade them all off. Okay, new core group of guys, 3-4 years. It just so happens that the Rays, they just got luckier and won more games and had better coaching staffs put together. I don't know. I just the Rays. Man.
Imagine too if they actually. The thing that I think, not just the money that hampers them too, is that if they were in a. I know when everybody talks about this, but dude, like, how are they gonna stay where they are? Like, and even they said their new stadium. It's pretty much like right down the street, which apparently is still a hard location to get to because of the bridges you need to go over. It's like I actually feel like with the way that organization runs with winning, if you actually were in a marketable area and could actually open up the pocketbook here and there for a player or two, that could actually become an exciting franchise.
And can you just imagine if they had an attractive like
not to cut you off, I'm sorry, just to save your point, but imagine like the A's in an attractive area and spent money, but the opposite of them, they actually win. So at least they already have the winning part. The other stuff.
Well, that was the thing about the Athletics. The Athletics were always so much more fun because their fans would show up when they were fucking winning because it's like it's the Oakland Athletics. Like remember like when they snuck that division win? I think it was from the Rangers the last year that the Rangers were competitive when their window shut. And they snuck the division from them, and their fans were all out, and it was a crazy time to be alive. But yeah, I mean, if you remember when the Athletics were winning, their fans were showing up. It was a fun, exciting time, which is probably why it sucks to see them losing their franchise when the Rays, like their fans don't show up. I mean, it's not like they really can show up most days. Their stadium is completely shot. They've been in this dome forever. The dome is falling apart. It's not good. Like they don't have like and they've been to the World Series. You know what I mean? Like they've had deep playoff. They've been to 2 World Series in our lifetime. So
they've had incredible players too. When you think about it in their history, Ricky Henderson, Vida Blue, Jason Giambi. I mean, like they had a
Athletics.
Fingers. Yeah. I mean, they have players, man. And the thing is too, if you're an Athletics fan, you got to be a little salty about that. It's like. The Rays don't spend money, we don't spend money. We have a shit stadium, Rays have a shit stadium. But they fucking win. It's like, at least
see, I feel like the Athletic Stadium is underrated, man. Like, they call it the Coliseum.
I heard it's one of those stadiums that's like, it's like a not like a dump, but it's like a shit stadium, but it's like a nostalgic shit stadium where it's like you still like it because of that. Like, it's kind of weird to describe it.
I heard Fenway and Wrigley were that way, but...
Yeah, I was just about to say, like, I don't want to get hate and call out the Red Sox fans, but, like, bro, like, the stadium's actually kind of, like, shitty, like, in, like, modern aesthetics part. Like, the seats are tight as hell, like, the ring around it's weird, the getting to and fro spots is really weird.
That's what I'm saying, like, shitty nostalgia, but... Like, damn, the Athletics really got the shit end of so many sticks, man. Like, their shitty nostalgia stadium couldn't be treated nicely like Fenway and Wrigley. You know, their team couldn't be appreciated like the Rays were. Like, they really got the shit end of the stick, man.
And you know what sucks, too, is that and it's not going to hit yet, and at the same time, I feel like the way the ownership treated the fan base is that why I'm not too upset. But in a way, like, growing up, like, I did like the Athletics. I thought they were cool. Like, they were never, like, super, super good in my lifetime, but I still liked them. And it's one of those teams that I will admit I am going to miss when they eventually aren't, like, the Oakland Athletics anymore.
I agree, because I don't know, like, this Las Vegas movement, I mean, at the end of the day, like, people got to understand that it's still the same ownership. It's still the same team. It's still going to be the same name, everything. Right? Like,
yeah,
it's just the Las Vegas Athletics now, unless they decide. You know, I think they have a few years before they're officially Las Vegas. So I don't know. They probably will go under a name change or something. But you know, I don't know. It just doesn't make a lot of sense to me because if baseball really wanted to change for the Athletics. Because I get it, you want a team in Las Vegas, but if the point of this was also a change, like you're punishing that Athletics franchise for being so bad, then you should have removed ownership, and you have the power to do that if all the owners vote. So I don't know why MLB continues to stand on this hill of they're kind of punishing the Athletics franchise and the fans for, I guess not supporting their team and all this crazy shit. When realistically, I feel like the owners should have just been stripped of the team. And if you still wanted to move them to LA or to Las Vegas, okay, do that. But don't move them to Las Vegas keep the same owners in town and keep everything intact, because you're just moving a shit pile from one area to another. That's like me taking a shit, taking it out of my toilet and putting it in yours.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's like you said. It's actually wild they let them do that, because it's like, all right, we failed here, so let's take our team and move it while we're going with it.
Such a historic, prestigious team too.
What what could have actually happened is they could have gave them an ultimatum of like, hey, you try to change this team, your philosophy, spend some money, and if you don't, you're out. And then at least give a new guy a chance, like a Steve Cohen, like how the Wilpons did it. Give a new guy a chance, see how that goes, and if this guy doesn't change anything either, then you do it. But to just, like you said, to punish the city, that sucks.
Yeah, better you than me. I would have stripped ownership of the team, and then I would have had whatever cities that don't have a baseball team, including Oakland, like some new ownership can come in, and like everyone could have bidded on a new team, and now we have a one new expansion team, maybe two others if it was a hot pool of people. But yeah,
you could even have did that too. Actually, that would have been cool. Do a bid, and then like whoever bids can decide if he wants to stay there or move it.
Yeah,
that'd be cool. Well, I actually like that.
They need to make us fucking commissioner.
I know.
But so speaking of contracts, Juan Soto, his contract extension is starting to become news, because with how good he's been, how good he is right now, and he is set to be a free agent, we thought maybe Shohei was going to be the biggest free agent that we're going to have, for a while. But here comes Juan Soto. His contract seems to be increasing by the day. What are your thoughts?
So I'm going to just backfire a little bit, because I see a lot of Yankee fans getting hyped up about this. And I'll be honest, like, first off, I'm not saying he does not want to be a Yankee, and even though I would love him on the Mets, I'd be shocked if he does leave the Yankees. But people need to remember, the only person he screws himself if he takes a contract now is himself. There's no reason to not let other teams bid against the Yankees. Like, even if the Yankees give you a great number, who's to say they're not going to give you that number going into free agency? It's like, oh, if you don't take this $500 million contract now, we're only going to give you $400 million. That would be also stupid on their part, because then you kind of give him like an FU, like take this now type of scenario. Like I said, you don't want the other teams not bidding. And then the one thing that, like, this one's like the most minor detail of that, but if something happens this season to where this team really sputters out, and I'm not saying they will, I'd be shocked if they don't even go to the World Series, but let's just say, like, they somehow sputter out and have, like, a tragic September and miss the playoffs, or maybe get in a wild card and get bounced the first wild card and he's unhappy, he's probably not going to want to stay there as much as he would when things are great in May. Like, everything's great in May. Like, if I was him, I would wait to play this whole season out and just, like... Because you're not going to lose money anyway. You're freaking Juan Soto. Like, if anything, you're going to get more. But I wouldn't jump the gun too much, especially you. Like, you have all the power in your hands right now.
Yeah, man. I'm on the fence, because...
I'm glad the Yankees, from their
Juan Soto... Yeah, I mean, like, for Juan Soto, I feel like... Here's the thing. His agent's Scott Boras, right? So, the reason why I am an advocate for him signing a contract extension now is because what's the figure that we're talking here? Like, what, $550 million? We could be talking $600 million. We could even be talking $650 million if teams want to get desperate enough. What teams can really afford that, right? The Yankees, the Dodgers, maybe the Mets if Cohen really wants. But is Cohen really going to open his checkbook that much?
I think he will, but the one sneaky team, like really sneaky team, I think the team that's going to go the hardest is the Giants.
Right. Okay, so the Giants, maybe the Angels have that kind of money. But we're not talking about we're not talking about a lot of teams that have that kind of money. So if he is to get to free agency, you know what I mean? It's not going to be that exciting of a bidding war. You know what I mean? Like,
that's
he's going to get
a really good point.
He's going to get his money, but if he decides out of all these teams that the Yankees are the best fit for him, I would just sign now, get it over with, get all of your money, $600 million, whatever it is, and then so that you can avoid all that drama in the off season. Because, like I said, in the off season, it's just gonna be a mess. Because like you saw, like the Aaron Judge thing was almost a mess. You know how he almost signed with the Giants, that whole thing, the Shohei Ohtani thing. That was almost a mess. Don't talk to anybody. That whole thing. Like it creates weirdness. And I think if he gets the extension done now, I think what that shows is that shows this is a unit. This is a unit that wants to play together. This is a unit that wants to win, and it eliminates any drama. Because I feel like as this goes on, the drama of this situation is going to explode.
There is also a small part of me that, and not from Soto's perspective, I'm a little curious how much higher they would go in comparison to Judge, and also more for just financial reasons. Because if you think about it, it's not Judge, it's not Soto, it's not Cole, because you're talking a chunk of money right there. The thing for the Yankees, why I would also maybe try to wait, is because I would also try to see if you could chip off Stanton's contract, and then that really opens up some books for Soto. But I don't think either team would do it. I think if anything, the Yankees kind of would do like what they did with Judge that a couple years ago. Remember they tried to get him? I think it was like around it was either the 240 or 280. Right? I think it was like 280ish. They were trying to get him, so it would make sense for their perspective. I just, dude, for him, like. You're going to get one of the biggest contracts in all of baseball. I just feel like, why would you skip that free agency period?
Yeah, it's going to be fun though. I'll tell you that much. It's going to be fun to see just how much he signs for. Because moving on to who we think are the build different players of the year so far, he's got to be one of them, man.
Oh yeah,
because this guy he's absolutely unbelievable. Like I said, we're talking about. The last year's Yankees being basically the same exact team as this year, but their only addition is Juan Soto, minus a cut like Marcus Stroman and a couple other guys. Like this dude is absolutely unbelievable. He hits to all sides of the field. He can take his walks. He doesn't get overhyped in any situation. He can hit through those clutch situations. He opens up the plate for Aaron Judge, who's finally starting to take advantage of that. Because as a pitcher, like, how do you pitch to both Aaron Judge and Juan Soto? Because if you put them both on base, well, you got Stanton coming up or Rizzo, one of those guys that can easily...
You gotta be so nervous.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's so crazy. Like, this line... And they don't even have Dominguez back or DJ back yet. Like, Peraza's still a thing that's not there yet. Their rotation is great, and Garrett Cole hasn't even pitched a game yet. So this team is exciting, man. And I think Juan Soto being like kind of the guy that rejuvenated this whole clubhouse. If I'm the Yankees, I'm calling him up with a cup of wine in my hand, like, hey man, what you want? Let's get this deal done. Just whatever he wants, just fucking
take him out to a nice dinner,
him.
Wine and dine. Now, you know what it is too, and I will say this, and this is a different topic for a different day. If you are the Yankees, you cannot let him go. It would be... The Bronx would burn. The Bronx would be on fire.
Yeah. Because at what point... Like, the Yankees have been the Yankees for so long, right? From all the way in the back of the day when they had, Babe Ruth and DiMaggio to, Mickey Mantle and all of the legends that they've had all the way up to this point. Like, you probably couldn't sit here and tell me all the legends that they've had because they've had so many fucking legends play for this team. And then now in 2024, you just shrivel up and become less than what you are. You just can't. You're the New York Yankees. You got to act like you got to live up to it. I don't as the owners of the team, the GMs, whatever you do, you got to keep this guy. You absolutely have to keep this guy. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You kept Aaron Judge. Now you finally have someone along with him that can really, for years to come, do you want to go on another run? Do you? Because, again, it's like we've said in so many podcasts, the Orioles are there with all of their prospects. And then other teams are going to be coming up, like the Royals. I mean, I'm not saying they're going to be some big, crazy team, but they could be. They got the talent. The Rangers could be good for years to come. There's a lot. There's a lot
Dude,
there.
it's crazy when you think about it. Because and I want to say this, Yankee fans. I have Dominguez in 2 leagues. I have Spencer Jones. I think your prospects are going to be great, and I like them. That being said, especially if Stanton gets hurt or goes back to like older Stanton, and some of the guys like Rizzo's not as hot and this, that, the other thing, or more even think about last year's lineup. If you take Soto out of that lineup, holy crap. We're talking a completely different team. I don't care if Dominguez replaces him. You take Soto out of that lineup, and this is a completely
Well,
different
because you saw it last year, man. Aaron Judge went down, or he was like not himself, and he had that toe injury or whatever, and it just wasn't. It was rough.
Yeah,
it was hard to watch.
I mean, they had a couple good stretches with Dominguez there. Well, like that 6-7 days he was there, he was pretty good. But like, dude, you're telling me like you're banking on a guy like that if you didn't have Soto for the next few years? Like, no, you absolutely need to keep Soto. You can't like give Yankee fans a taste now and take it away.
Yeah, because imagine just 1 year of Juan. So that's like that's like 1 year, the 1 year of Kawhi Leonard. Like Kawhi Leonard came to the Toronto Raptors, was this unbelievable talent, was one of the greatest offensive and defensive players that year. They go all the way to the NBA championship win, and he leaves.
Yep, exactly. I honestly was shocked he left there. I remember watching that one for as random as it was. Like I was super into that one, and yeah, I was shocked that he did.
Well, considering who Kawhi is, like it wasn't really a shock to me, just because like the way he left San Antonio. Like a lot of people forget how he left San Antonio because he kind of like he was injured and then he just didn't really want to come back. Tony Parker and Tim Duncan and all of them were actually really frustrated with him. He forced his way out, goes to Toronto, and then ends up an LA Clipper. But yeah, man, I totally get what you're saying. They can't you can't give, especially Yankees fans, of all fan bases, you can't give Yankees fans Juan Soto and then snatch it away. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people would love to see that, but we're talking about what's best for the Yankees here. You can't do that.
Let's just say this: I'm a Met fan, and the closest comparison, and this isn't even like 1/4 of Soto, is like Cespedes. And I would have been devastated if we didn't get Cespedes back, and he's nowhere near what Soto is. I can't even fathom that. That's like on a different level. I love Pete, not the same level. It's not even close.
I mean, yeah. I mean, like when the Nationals brought up Juan Soto and we had him for what, 3, 4, maybe it was 5 years. I think it was 4 years. We got that little taste of him. I mean, we won a World Series and shit, but even that felt like it was too fucking quick. I can only imagine if we had him for 1 year. God.
And even that, at least, is much, like you said, got the World Series, plus you saw the team around him starting to go, so it's like at least, it's like you didn't want to think it. It's like, dude, even with the Mets this year, if they're shipped by the trade deadline, Pete's gone. Like, it's happening.
I mean, I would hope so, just because, like, you can get so much for him. I mean, it would be a no-brainer.
I'm honestly at the point with the way they're playing is, like, I really didn't want that to happen, but the only issue I'm having with that is, like, would I do it? Yes. At the same time, like, with what they've been doing with prospects recently, I'm having a lot less hope for, building this actual farm system we keep talking about, because so far, every prospect you bring up has been a fucking dud.
And I think the issue with what happened is that, in my honest opinion, Cohen came in and just rushed everything along. I think 1 more year of the Mets sucking would have been good. And granted, you guys won 100 games. Granted, you guys probably should have accomplished more that year. But I think if he didn't come and open the checkbook immediately and let this go just 1 more year and let Beatty develop another year. I mean, Francisco Alvarez is probably the outlier because we know he's good. He's just hurt right now. But Beatty and, I mean, even Mauricio, I mean, he's hurt, but he has yet to really play. Just so many of your guys' prospects, guys you've traded away, everything. I think this could have been a lot healthier team because now, I mean, you see it. The Mets can't do much right now unless they do completely open the checkbook. And then at the same time, not a lot of people want to come to the Mets right now because, like, you can love Francisco Lindor and Pete Alonso all you want, but they're not guys that are, like, top 10 players in this league. When they're hot, they're great, but they're not consistently hot to the point where they're top 10 players in this league. Like Lindor, I mean, he came to the Mets, and it's, being honest, in my eyes, I feel like it's been a fail so far. He's put together some decent stuff, but
I wouldn't. I would probably rate it like I wouldn't even say a fail. If I had to rate it on like a scale of like A to F, I'd probably put it at like a B minus or like maybe
B
like a
minus,
C
C plus,
C plus around there. Yeah. The problem is he'll like have a good year, bad year, good year, bad year, which is like if like a 50%. You know what I mean? The problem is with like first off, you're right. I definitely think they should have took a little bit slower. Second off, they definitely should have cleaned house 100%. Like, I'm sorry, Sandy Alderson, but, like, bro, you were there for, like, the 10 to 12 years. The Mets, like, I don't want to hear, we had good teams. Like, bro, you were still part of that old regime. This is a new regime. We got to move on. And then the thing I think really hurts them the most, which is, I hate to say it because I really like him and I try to like him, but, like, the more and more I think about it, I think Lindor is a little bit to blame for that contract thing. Because he even said, like, yo, you either pay me now or we ain't even talking all year. And it's like, clearly this is the money he wanted. And you gotta remember, bro, he got $340, right? Which means he was asking for more than $340. Because the team will give the lowest they can give. So he probably was asking for $360, $370. So the fact they gave him $340, and he's in the beginning of the season before he even played, and this is what's happened so far. Like I have to blame him a little bit too. Like, and then I'm not saying not Steve Cohen. I'm saying like there's a lot of factors going into this.
Of course. So to kind of change gears a little bit, who's your top 5 teams right now in baseball?
The Yankees are definitely top right now. The Phillies are
number
up there.
1.
Yeah. Let me quick actually see them in front of me so I can.
All right, here I'll give you my top 5 in order.
Yeah, go. Yeah.
No, you're good. I got you. I got you, Wolf. I got your back. So I'm gonna take the Yankees first, just because, like I said, they got the best record in the American League. Or I think the Guardians. Hold on, before I say some dumb.
No, they're the best.
Shit.
They're the best in baseball, actually. No, the Phillies are the best in baseball. The Yankees are second.
Okay, so they're tied with the Guardians, but yeah, so they're the best record in the AL. The Yankees are tied with the Guardians, but I have them first just because you see all these factors that we just talked about. Juan, Soto, and Aaron Judge. Absolutely mashing. Giancarlo Stanton looks good and healthy again. They're doing all this without, Torres really contributing much. Anthony Rizzo, DJ LeMahieu's hurt. Dominguez ain't there yet. Garrett, their rotation is one of the best rotations, and Garrett Cole isn't there yet because Gill and Clark Schmidt have been pitching their asses off as the young guys in that rotation, and Rodon's having a bounce back year. Stroman's having good starts here and there. Cortez having good starts here and there. So I got them first because they're not even as good as they can be yet. And that's why I have the Dodgers number 2. Because they're over there in the NL. And I get it. People should say the Phillies with the best record in the MLB should probably be number 1 or 2 on my list. But with the Dodgers, they're 33-18. And again, they don't have any of their pitchers really healthy. Walker Buehler just came back, and Walker Buehler is starting to really look good again, which I love. But they don't got Kershaw back yet. Glasnow's out there pitching really good this year. Yamamoto's looking really good. It's a team that, again, once their hurt guys come back, they're going to be really freaking good, man. And they already are good. Shohei, Betts, Freeman. Freeman's starting to turn it around. I really love this Dodgers team. They're monstrous.
By the way, and I actually have him in fantasy, and it kind of blows me away because I did not realize he's technically tied for second with most wins on the team, which is James Paxton has a 2.84 ERA.
Right.
The thing, it's always the same thing with him. And it's just especially if you look at him on the team.
I'm honestly shocked he's even pitching. It's been so long.
Yeah, it's
been so long
walks.
since he's been a pitcher in this league.
Yeah.
Remember the days when he was throwing no hitters and fucking almost winning Cy Young and shit?
Yeah, I mean, dude, that's why he got the contracts that he did. But I mean, I'll give him credit. I know his innings compared to Yamamoto and Glasnow or even Stone, he's got 44 compared to 50 and 60. And his walks are so high compared to the rest. But, dude, 2.4 with a 5-0 record, I'll give him that.
Yeah, I'll absolutely take that. I mean, shit. But yeah. So I got the Dodgers second. I'll give the Phillies third. They're starting to win me over a little bit. They're very hot. My only issue is how far does Rangers Suarez continue to pitch like his fucking hair's on fire? How long does their bullpen sustain? Like, this is my issue that I have every year with them, and why it's going to prevent them from winning the World Series is because a lot of what happens with the Phillies is lightning in a bottle. But if they can sustain this, if they keep being one of the best teams through the season, I think they will win the World Series. But they're going to tail off eventually. They're gonna. There's no doubt about it. But the one thing that I like is they're doing really good without, guys like Castellanos giving them anything. Trey Turner's hurt. But Bryce Harper's hitting the shit out of the ball, so, it is what it is there. But number 4, I got the Orioles. What can't be said about those guys? They got the pitching, they got the hitting. I think they're playing down to their competition a lot. They finally got swept by the Cardinals with their first sweep in, so many series, 3 years or whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah, it was like 2 or 3 years, which is crazy.
But they got a lot of dogs on that team, man. I really wouldn't be shocked if they're in the ALCS. I still feel like they can make a run and win the whole thing. It's just, I don't know. Looking at the Orioles, I'm starting to see some, is their pitching as good as what we thought it was? Is their hitting as good as what we thought it was? So, yeah, I got them 4th. And number 5 might be a shocker. It's not the Braves. Because I think the Braves are hurt without a good Acuna in my eyes.
Oh yeah.
I don't believe in the Guardians being as tied for the best record in the AL, so I don't got them top 5.
Me neither.
I got the Mariners 5th.
Yep,
Is that what you put?
It's funny. Okay. See that line? I actually put them over the Braves. I snuck them in the second.
So I got them 5th because, look, man, their rotation is sensational. Luis Castillo is pitching his ass off. George Kirby is there. Gilbert is pitching good. I mean, I know Miller is kind of off lately, but Wu came back and he looks good. Their bullpen is looking great. Their hitting sucks, but if they can get some hitters, they're immediately a World Series contender. And I like that for number 5. Seattle, they're still leading the division, and they don't look like a good team.
I know.
So I'll take them.
Crazy. And we talked a lot of smack about what their ownership, all of their ownership pretty much said last year that they didn't need to do anything. So I kind of I'm a little salty that they are doing good because of that. It's I wanted to see them need help. And then just to bounce on that, dude, the only change I had to that list... Actually, well, originally I had the exact same list written down. Exactly the same. The Braves I had 6th if I had to put them somewhere. The only one I would did swap at the last second is the Dodgers and the Yankees I swapped. Dude, those were I didn't know really how to do it. And the only reason I say that is because... After taking a quick look at the Dodgers pitching staff and the guys that you mentioned coming back, a lot of them have actually seen the playoffs a lot. And while they might not always have the best playoff success, they have seen a lot of playoffs. Plus, I'm still not 100% sure what Judge playoffs we're going to get. And the rest of the Yankees team, is Rizzo going to be good in the playoffs compared to Freeman, Mookie, Ohtani?
And if you go into the playoffs, what would you rather have? Would you rather have at the top of your lineup Ohtani, Betts, and Freeman? Or at the top of your lineup, would you have Volpe, Soto, and Judge, or some combination of... It's not even for sure who the top 3 Yankees are. But would you have Ohtani, Betts, and fucking Freeman at the top of your lineup? That's insane, man.
Yeah. And that's
if we get a Yankees-Dodgers World Series, brother...
That'd be so old school, and to be honest, now... it's funny, I didn't even really think about it during the offseason, but considering the moves they made with Soto one way and Ohtani the other... It would actually wind up being one of the more crazy World Series ever. By the way, and just not even... Because I actually put Freeman in that top 3, but just quick taking a look at stats, because they're almost identical, which is Will Smith's amazing. He's actually doing slightly better than Freeman. And then even Max Muncy's
most underrated catcher in the game, man.
Oh, dude, one of the best in the game. And then Max Muncy's having about an 800 OPS season, and same thing with Teoscar. So it's well, I'm not saying the Yankees aren't good. I said, I had them too. It could go either way. So
absolutely.
So it's just the same.
Yeah, We're in sync. So why don't you make a trade for a team real quick? I'll go and I'll pick the Mariners like I just said. So they got all the pitching. I think they can unleash some of their prospects here. And I think they should go to the Marlins and they should pull off a big blockbuster deal for Jazz Chisholm and Jake Berger. Or like Jazz Chisholm and Josh Bell. I think they got to get like a big lumberjack kind of guy, either Berger or Josh Bell. But I think they should absolutely get Jazz Chisholm. And the reason why is because, look, Jazz Chisholm is healthy. I know it's only been 2 months, but it's been a rockin' 2 months for the guy. He's hitting with power now. He has his swagger back to him. I think he's a perfect fit for Seattle. Julio Rodriguez, and listen, I'm wearing his jersey. I am wearing Julio Rodriguez's jersey on this podcast because I need this guy to get going. I've been betting on him to hit home runs. He's ruining my parlays, but he needs some protection in the lineup because what's happening with Julio is what was happening with Juan Soto for the Nats, what was happening with Bryce Harper when he was young for the Nats. He's not getting pitches to do anything with. Pitchers are pitching him tight. He's not getting a lot to hit. He's lucky to see one good pitch every at-bat, and if he doesn't swing at it, he's fucked for the whole at-bat. He needs someone, and I think Jazz Chisholm would be perfect because Jazz Chisholm is a lightning rod. He's a guy that'll hype up the crowd. He got the swagger that I think the Mariners are missing right now in their lineup. I think, having a lineup with Julio, him, and Cal Riley back-to-back-to-back, J.P. Crawford on top, who's finally healthy, and then you throw in like a Jake Berger or a Josh Bell into that, I think that lineup is something that could win you. Because these pitchers need run support at the end of the day. If they want to do some real damage this year, they're going to need run support. Because the Astros are coming. They've left the division open. The Astros are coming again. So I think they need to make that. And the Marlins, they're looking to unload. They've already traded Arise. So I absolutely think they should do that.
I actually like that trade because I feel like also, too, with the Marlins, they might be more willing to do that because it completely doesn't affect them at all in any way. Like, they're just sending them all the way on the other side of the country. So I actually do like that one. And plus, I feel like the Mariners have a lot of pitching to spare, too. So if, like, the Marlins want to start adding back to their what usually is a good rotation, that's a good way to do it. I completely agree. We actually mentioned this one quick, and there's two teams that came up to the top of my mind. Sorry, Alex, I'm leaving the Cubs out of this one quick. I'm just not so high on some of the prospect offers we've seen for Pete. But I am throwing this out there. I am going to do a Pete trade out there. And the one trade I'm actually going to say, and like it sucks because we talked about it last year, but I actually have some confidence on it, especially seeing some of the pitchers they have in their organization. But let's go back to the Brewers. If that's the case, go back to the Brewers. And the reason I say this, the Brewers are still in first place. They don't seem to do much significant moves. So this is a move I could definitely see them doing because then they wouldn't have to keep him for the year
Pete
after.
would rock Milwaukee, bro.
Plus a righty-lefty to Yelich. And on top of that, the reason why I would feel... it's kind of 50-50 because there's a part of me that would also be like, is Stearns just doing it just to kind of like a last thank you? But then I also see it like this. Stearns knows that organization so well that he probably knows what prospects would be worth it and go back to them for that. The other team that actually came into my mind quick too for another Pete one too because they could definitely use it at DH because Abra's just been terrible is the Astros. But the only reason I'm going to stay away from the Astros a little bit is because we just traded with them last year and we got some of their better prospects, and I really don't feel like they're going to go back and give us like another haul of prospects for Pete. So I'm going to kind of stick to that Milwaukee one. There's a lot of teams out there that could definitely use Pete somewhere in the lineup, but I kind of feel like with some of the pitchers they have, like, I'd be okay with that.
It just seems so perfect, man.
Yeah, plus at the same time, too, it kind of gives us away from that, like, enemy territory, too. Like, it's I know it's the NL, but, like, plus you wouldn't even see them for half the year, so...
Yeah, and it's not like they're gonna fucking open the checkbook and re-sign him either. But so I have two just random trades that I just randomly thought about when I was like driving in the car earlier. So one, Alek Manoah to the Houston Astros.
That's actually would be pretty interesting. I kind of like that. I don't know if Toronto.
So Manoah's been pitching his ass off. I kind of want to put in the cheeky little shout out because He's been on my fantasy team the last couple of years. Need him to keep that up. But I think he goes to a team like the Astros. He's a really talented pitcher, and I think they could get the best out of him like they do with all their pitchers. And I know he doesn't like the cheaters Astros, but I feel like that's a good. I feel like it's a good fucking fit.
Damn, I just thought of one too. Actually, now that you said that,
And then I got Pete Alonso to the Twins.
That's a pretty interesting one.
Because that
Actually,
stadium
I like that
is very the elevation in fucking Minnesota. I feel like it'd be perfect, and they need if they actually want to like compete this year. I think they need a big bat in their lineup again.
I like that one actually a lot, and it's funny because it made me think about this too with Manoah, but actually works with Pete too. Is that would it be funny if it's like for a package for Manoah, they just give Justin Turner as well? Like say they're completely out of it, just so Justin Turner can go back to LA and then just tack on Manoah and give a bunch of prospects back. And then I was also thinking too because they lost JD.
Damn, the Dodgers.
Yeah. Yeah.
If the Dodgers got Justin Turner and Manoah back, I would just die.
Dude, because and you got to remember, they also did that already with Kike Hernandez last year, so they already have a track record of bringing back guys that were like really important to their team.
Yeah.
And that would be kind of like a funny way to do it, plus get something else, because they could also usually use the pitching towards the end to help the guys, so.
Wow. That was good.
I was going to say Pete, too, but, like, the problem is that I don't even want to say it, because I don't want to see it, like Pete on the Dodgers. Oh, it would just make me
yeah, fuck that.
fuck that. I'm
so
going to need a shower.
Moving on to some basketball. So, listen, man, our Knicks are out of it. One thing I guess I want to say about that is a lot of people can see this as a disappointment, with the New York Knicks. I just want to say I think it's I'll say it's a blessing in disguise, and here's why. I don't think the Knicks would have been able to compete with the Celtics with all the injuries that we had. Sad to say. I mean, I think if OG was actually healthy, we could have. But a lot of people didn't see that before Game 7 and OG tried to play, he looked like he was off the fucking perk. Like, I don't know if people saw that. Like, when he was sitting on the bench, his eyes were bugging out. He was running down, when he was playing, he was running down the court like he had to take a shit. It was bad. So I really don't believe that if the Knicks got to the Celtics that we would have been able to sustain anything. I think it would have been a sweep, whatever. So for me, I think the most important thing about the season is that the Knicks figured out the formula. Mark my words, the Knicks have figured out the formula to winning an NBA championship. And I know this is a long-winded take, but I think if you look at everything the Knicks have done up until this point to get to this point, how smart they were in getting Jalen Brunson, how smart they were getting this whole thing together. I mean, the guys that they gave up for Josh Hart, what they gave up for Bojan, all the smart trades, all the smart moves to get right now, all the great contracts, I think that's going to continue. I don't think the Knicks are just going to get up this offseason and do a whole bunch of dumb shit. I don't think that's the case here. I think the Knicks have figured it out. And if the Knicks can figure out a way to keep players healthy through the season, and I can argue with anyone about this Tom Thibodeau shit, but I think if the Knicks can keep their players healthy next season, they will compete for a championship. I think the tides have finally officially turned. Bing bong, the Knicks are here.
I want to agree with you, and I know I'm aware of the Knicks hat. I'm not trying to be negative over here. The one thing though that really concerned me about this year, and not even with the coaching staff, it's more the players themselves. Like, are we getting into a territory where some guys might just be this injury prone? Like, Randall's had injury history over his career, especially in playoffs. He's a little bit banged up. Like Jalen, obviously, I'm not too worried about him. OG, I mean, bro, you've missed a lot of time this year. A lot of these other guys, I'm. First off, the big one is, do you give OG that contract? I'm just leaving that as an objective question out there. But second off, it's just dude, I don't want to run it back knowing that if two guys go down, it's over. I know that you could say that about a lot of teams, but if we are gonna quote unquote run it back with a lot of these guys, yo, you don't need the top 5, you don't need the top 10 players being good. You better have your C team being good, because clearly we saw that what can happen if your C team's shit, you get blown out. So, I'm okay if we are going to run it back, and I do think, the players that we have in place, Jalen Brunson's, one of my favorite Knicks I've ever seen in the last 20 years.
He's Jesus Christ!
Think about, honestly, bro, think about it, just take the last 15 years, for us, it's more recent memory, he's got to be one of our favorites if he's going to continue at this pace, if not the favorite. So, I like the direction they're going, but you got to take a good look at what went wrong this year, and the second it starts to happen, well, first off, don't even let it happen next year. Prepare for it. But if it starts to happen, you got to really reevaluate everything.
Yeah, I 110% agree with you, because if you go to, OG, you look up, like, he hasn't since his rookie like, he hasn't played more than 70 games. Last year he played 50. Year before that was 67, but then 40 games each in the years before that. So I think, yeah, he's injury prone. Julius Randle, we already know, is injury prone. Mitchell Robinson is definitely injury prone.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even think about Mitch. Yeah, Mitch, oh my God.
I mean, shit, even Jalen Brunson has all these little injuries here and there. I mean, as we saw, he got injured like 7 times throughout the season this year with a little injury here and there. I just think what goes into it is 2 things. I think, one, injuries happen, right? I think at this point, there's a lot of injury-prone players. Injuries just fucking happen. I think what the Knicks need to do is they just need to be prepared for it this time. And I mean, what can you say? I mean, with like 5 key injuries, you can't really fucking prepare for that. But I mean, during the season, I think you retain all these guys. Bring them all back. You have a lineup right there of like 8 guys, and then you just sign a couple of veterans or a couple of actual good players that can see the floor, that'll sit there in case of an injury so that you can constantly run an 8-9-man rotation. Because the issue with the Knicks is that Tibbs was running 7-man rotations from the get-go, from the jump earlier this season. We need to be able to run 8-9-man rotations through the whole year, keep people fresh, keep people's injuries to a minimal as much as you can, because obviously freak injuries are going to happen, but little injuries we can afford. And we just can't have it to a point where we get here and we're playing 5 guys the whole entire fucking game with maybe 1 guy that could come in.
And you know what the problem is, too, especially this year was a good example of it, is that some of the guys that we had on the bench, like, while they did step up in moments, like, here and there, you get different guys, the problem is that it seemed like it was more of a defensive-oriented B team, where you had guys like a Chua there that, like, weren't going to shoot as well, but, they could play some decent defense, get up there. Yeah. Or actually, not shoot as well, like, more with that, not as consistent. Same thing with Burks throughout the year. Once we got him, it was like... a 0 in the regular season, okay in the postseason when he actually played. But my point being is that they were losing guys to injuries to where if you put your B team in, you had, like, no offense. Or if the game was getting close, and like, you couldn't leave them in too much. Like you said, you had to play those 7. And, like, it can't be like that. It can't be like, if we play these 5 and not these 5, or, this 7 and not this. Like, if you go past that 7 and you're lost, there's something wrong with the team. Like, you can't do that. You need 9.
Absolutely.
You need a lot. You need a whole roster.
Yeah. I mean, like, and I think we have that full roster as long as we keep everybody. I think the one guy we'll lose is Hartenstein, just because I don't think he's gonna want a discount. He has earned the ability to get a big contract that I don't think we should give him. I mean, the thing that sucks is that, like, that's the thing that sucks about our team, right? Is that when we have Brunson, Dante, OG, Randall, and Mitch as our starting 5 on the floor healthy, I honestly don't think anyone could really beat us. But that's the thing, is them staying on the floor. So, like, Hartenstein and Josh Hart, guys like that, they're not supposed to be getting all these starting minutes. They're great off the bench. Like, Mitchell Robinson, like, him defensively and OG defensively at the same time is going to be so fucking nasty, brother. It's going to be so nasty, and I just want to see it all healthy.
I completely agree with that. It's just, hopefully we can.
Right. Hopefully.
Hopefully.
But so to set the stage, I just want to hear your predictions on these series real quick. So Celtics Pacers, we already got through game 1. The Celtics, they won game 1 very luckily against the Pacers. They survived. The Pacers looked like they were going to win almost the whole game. Jaylen Brown hits a crazy 3 because the Pacers decided not to foul. They go into overtime. Celtics win. The Pacers, they currently have a mismatch because they have better big men because Kristaps Porzingis is hurt. Tyrese Halliburton has size advantage over Drew Holiday. But at the same time, the Pacers don't play any defense whatsoever. So Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum should be running wild on them. So in my eyes, I feel like the Celtics should be taking care of business. And I'll go ahead and say it. I think this is one of... And granted, you play to get the number one seed for this reason, to have the easiest playoff, experience. But man, facing the Heat with no Jimmy Butler, a fucking struggling limp dick Tyler Hero, and then you go and you face you minus the fact that you're not even going to see the Bucks because they're too hurt. But then you go and face the Cavs, who looked terrible in the Orlando series, and then they didn't have Donovan Mitchell at the end. And then now you're facing the Pacers, which was... Who the hell saw the Pacers go into the Eastern Conference Finals over the Knicks and the Bucks and these other teams? They have an easy run. I think they're going to get smacked in the finals because the Timberwolves and the Mavericks are going to war, and they've been going to war all fucking postseason. But who do you got? I got the Celtics. It should be in 4. Should be. But the Pacers did show me a lot last night.
See, this is like one of those, like, I hate talking about this because right now I hate the Pacers the way they, like, beat the Knicks. Like, I did not like that. They really shoved it in our face. And no offense to you guys, but, like, our team was hurt. Like, it's not like our, like, it is what it is.
Yeah, we had y'all. Like, we had y'all.
Exactly. Like, let's not forget it was up 2-0. So with that being said, with up 2-0, with guys still hurt at that point already, I think the Pacers are going to get smacked. I will say one thing, though. I do think they're going to at least sneak one game out at home, like at their home court. And if not, there's let's just say this. No way in hell is this going past 6, but I think if anything, it's going to end in 5. To the Celtics, obviously. I think the Pacers are going to get exposed, like you said, with their not playing as much defense. Plus, I feel like they're finally... Like, I mean, let's not forget the Celtics are a good team. They've been a good team for a few years now. Like, I mean, hell, they just won it all, basically. So, like, I mean, it was not even a full year ago. Like, I definitely think the Pacers are going to, like, finally meet their match, and I'm pretty happy to see, even though if it's the Celtics doing it.
All right, and then... I love it. Grumpy Wolf. But we also got the Wolves and the Mavericks. The Mavericks actually just wrapped up Game 1 and won. A lot of people coming at me because I have the Mavericks winning this series. Listen, man, I'm just saying it. The Wolves are not overwhelming offensively. Their strength comes from their defense, and I just don't think that they have the defense for Kyrie. But nonetheless, they don't have I don't think anybody has the defense for Luka. So I think the Mavericks are going to win this one in 6, and they had a very good Game 1 victory there. I think Cat's going to be pretty irrelevant because Mavericks do have great wing defenders that are going to pretty much keep him silent. It's going to be up to Rudy Gobert and Anthony Edwards to really carry that offense. I don't know. It's not a good matchup for the Timberwolves. But I do love their team still. They can still win. I wouldn't be shocked if either one of these teams won. It's just I'm going to ride the wave of Luka Magic and Kyrie as he showed you tonight. Let me see his final point total because he scored a lot in that first half.
Yeah, he had
30. Yeah, he scored 30. Luka scored 33. If they're going to do that on a game-to-game basis, there's really no answer for them. And this is with Luka struggling with his shot, 12 for 26.
Edwards didn't even have 20 points.
Yeah, and I mean, so that was the thing about the Timberwolves and the Nuggets series was that I think the Nuggets kind of exposed they kind of exposed each other for the next round, whereas the Nuggets they were kind of just letting Anthony Edwards do whatever, get himself out of the game because 6 for 16, he shot himself all the way out the game. And then Karl Anthony Towns let him be as irrelevant as possible. And look at that, 6 for 20. Rudy Gobert, I think he has to step up as an offensive center in this series. But yeah, it was a tough game for them. So who do you got?
I was gonna say if you asked me this like 2 days ago, I probably would have picked the Timberwolves, but I actually been siding with the Mavericks more recently myself. It's such a close matchup that it is really. I mean, you can tell from the first game that it is. But even you could just see by like the prime, not just the minutes, but like you said, the points comparison between the two. If you have multiple superstars that could put up 30 plus points with ease, and you have guys, even if you have multiple guys with double digit points and you're still losing, that's a clear comparison in stardom right there. Like, obviously, like you said, they still have great players. Like, I'm actually a big Edwards fan, but like, I, I mean, you're facing a juggernaut team too, so it's if anything,
it's gonna be a fun series, bro.
I was gonna say this is one that I can actually see going to 7. I think I'm actually a little surprised. Well, let me say this too. From what we've seen throughout the playoffs, when the home team isn't winning in the first game, I think that's a bad sign for them.
Yeah, and I mean the Timberwolves also got out rebounded as well too, which is not a good sight. Like Rudy Gobert, he's known for crashing out in the playoffs, and same with Cat. So if they crash out here, it's going to be bad because the Mavericks in no world right now should be out rebounding them, and they did. So we'll fucking see, brother.
Yeah, that one's, let's just say this, way more interest. And I'm usually not as big of a West fan, but like it's going to be way more interesting.
I agree. Do you have time to run NFL or?
Yeah, I got like 10 minutes left.
All right, cool. So moving on to some NFL talk. We made it. We made it to NFL. So we got, first off, here's what I'll say. I got to see, or well, we all got to see. Did you see Joe Burrow recently?
No, I must have missed this.
Go look up what Joe Burrow looks like now. I'm about to hype you up.
Why am I not seeing it? Why do I not see anything recent on him? What does he look like now?
Hold on. This actually, did I get G'd by a fake picture? Hold on. Oh,
I see him now. Oh wow, he's got really long hair.
okay. I don't know if it's real. Fuck me. Okay. Damn, that sucks. Wow, I got. So I got trolled too. Wow, that's terrible. I fell for that hard. So I thought Joe Burrow had long hair down to his shoulders now, and I was just gonna say, God damn, he's going all the way to the Super Bowl and winning the whole thing. But never mind, fellas.
I mean, it is pretty long.
I don't think it's real.
Oh, is this a fake account? I think you might.
It's like they threw Anakin's hair on him. I think.
Yeah, I think you're right. I can't tell. It's like. No, I think that is real, bro.
It's not.
Actually, yeah. I don't know, man.
It's not. It's Anakin's, man, and I'm sad now. I'm
Dude,
sad.
I'm like pretty positive this is real.
But either way, how do you feel about these 18 game schedule rumors going around?
It's weird. Like,
I
like it and I dislike it, and I'll tell you why. First off, it all depends like how far they're going to stretch the season. If they actually move it back a little bit, I'm okay with that. Because I don't like it when it's way too earlier in the summer. Because also the fact why I don't like that is because these like preseason games are becoming like almost like a joke kind of game. Like no one's even really hitting hard. Like guys aren't getting their good reps in. To where when the season starts, it's almost like the first like couple of weeks are actually like preseason. So if you add another game to that, it's gonna just kind of elongate like the beginning process of like getting ready for the season, which I'm not a big fan of. That being said, the only reason I am a big fan of it, I am not a big fan of the odd number games. I think just having an odd number of games, like 17, just does not sound right to me. So, like, that's actually one of the reasons I am a fan of it.
I don't.
Plus, it's more football.
I don't know how we go from 16 to 17 and all of a sudden we want an 18. Like, we just went to 17. Why
But that's
didn't
the
we go
thing,
to 18?
too. It's so quick, dude. It's so quick from just being from, like, just changing it.
There's just so many things that factor into this, right? Because you thought, I thought as a league, right? you would think as a league that you would want to protect your players. And that's the part I'm not understanding here, is that you're adding another important game to the schedule. I get it. You're still keeping the same amount of games because you're cutting the preseason shorter, and you're just adding on an extra game. But
I just thought of something.
That I don't know. I don't like it for that. I don't like it for that it's gonna fuck up stats again, and then it's like when we got those beautiful stat breaks this year, right? And then people will just be in the comments like, "Oh, 17 game season." It kind of just invalidates the whole fucking thing, and it's tough. But overall, as a fan, you gotta like it because it's just more football. You know what I mean? And then Super Bowl falls on a 3-day weekend for fucking once, which I don't know how they didn't do that 50 years ago.
Yeah,
I don't know how they didn't plan it that way then. But
yeah,
yo, it took them. What Super Bowl are we on? Super Bowl 50, what? 60?
Almost 60. Yeah, like, it's got to be
like,
58.
how are we this far and people are just like, oh my god, we should put the Super Bowl on a fucking 3-day weekend?
Yeah, which is actually, like, why I said I'm actually, like, a fan of it if it gets pressed back. I don't want it earlier.
Yeah.
Damn, what was I just about to say, too? Oh, you know what's actually one thing that I didn't even think about, and apparently I think the Jaguars are doing it for the first time this year, which is they're playing back-to-back games in London. And the way
they did that last year.
Was it them that did back-to-back, though, or is it... I think it was just us
yeah.
who might have did it. Oh, it was them.
So So the Jaguars, it was weird. They were, like, struggling, and then they played back-to-back in London, and then they got their steam, and then they just tailed out at the end of the year.
Okay, I didn't realize it. Well, that actually then kind of, I guess, furthers it, too, because the way they do it is one's home, one's away. That's how they count on the schedule. But I guess if you add another game in there, it kind of adds in, like, if you're going to have a team play 2 foreign games, they can at least still get the 8-8 back home, and it doesn't create, like, a weird, odd thing. Also, too, I got to say just one thing. I guess this is just a completely random question I'll just ask you as a football fan. You had season tickets to the Eagles, right? And all of a sudden, like, now 1 game a year, or even maybe possibly 2, depending on if the schedule gets elongated, and they get taken away and they play in another stadium, would you be upset about that? Like, probably.
I wonder, though, because, like, I wonder if, like, do you think they get discounts for that?
Well, first off, I was going to say maybe they give them the ticket for that game at that place, but
no, I'd absolutely be upset. Like, if I was a rich fuck to the point where I could go to every single Eagles game and one got taken away from me because it was in Germany or London or some shit, I'd be mad unless it was part of the package.
But
and
I was
maybe
going to say...
they covered travel, too. That would be nice.
But you know what the problem is? I was just thinking that they probably do discount it, but the problem is that ticket prices keep going up every year, like season tickets do. That the rise of the season tickets, even if it gets taken out, is probably still higher than what
the
it was
Texans
a year or two
the Texans ticket price is nearly fucking doubled.
That's crazy, dude. Dude, the Mets went up this year from last year.
What?
Yeah, dude, the
No
guys
wonder
on the
why
radio
there's
were
people
talking
not
about
at City fucking Field.
No, dude, that's legitimately like one of the reasons. How could you go up after like a 70-something win season? Like, that's crazy. And then not spend money this year.
So, which football game are you looking forward to the most?
You know what's one I'm actually looking forward to the most? I'm not trying to be like, it's nothing surprising here, but I'm actually looking forward to that Jet game. The first Jet game, because I think it's on
Jets,
Monday.
49ers?
It's on Monday Night Football, bro, and Aaron Rodgers possibly not getting hurt after 4 plays. Like, there is just a part of me that really wants to see, like, him play a full game for the Jets.
I don't even, like, God, there has to be so much anxiety for, like, Aaron Rodgers and the Jets for, like, that first whole quarter. Like, honestly, the whole game. Like, I bet you, like, that offensive line, like, I don't know, I would do, if I'm an offensive lineman, I'm doing crack, steroids, whatever I got to do to get this guy at least through the first quarter, the first game, because, come on, like, him running down with the American flag last year had me pumped, man. Like, I'm in my living room just pumped. Dude. And then he just goes down, and then he's out for the year, and now we're back to Zach Wilson, and the Jets suck again, and it was just like, oh, man. And then we have to deal with the bullshit-ass Bills, and
that's got to be, honestly, one of the most deflating sports moments in, like, a regular season game ever. Like, when you think, like I said, I'm not a Jet fan, I'm a Giant fan, but I don't dislike the Jets. I have a lot of Jet fan friends. But just, like, it's such a Met thing. It's just like, imagine you get Aaron Rodgers, like, bro, your team gets that dude, like, that'd be like the Yankees getting Soto, and then the first at bat he gets hurt. It's like, dude, could you imagine? Like, I feel like legitimately, if you're like and there are some diehard Jet fans. I mean, they legit have a room of Jets. Imagine you're that diehard fan. We finally got our quarterback. You sit down, all your boys are at your house. That's got to be devastating.
I quickly thought of like a couple scenarios, and it's funny that they both ended up in championships. But it was literally like when the Eagles, Carson Wentz got hurt after like halfway through the. I mean, I know he wasn't new on the team, but like how deflating it was when he got hurt. But then the team still goes on with Nick Foles to win the Super Bowl. And then on the other end of that, I was thinking about the Rangers when they fucking signed DeGrom last year. And it's like, oh shit, we got our ace, we got our guy. He goes down, and then they just still find their way to winning a World Series. And then the Jets just died.
That one's, I'm trying to think of like guys that maybe came back recently and just like instantly got injured again. There's definitely guys out there, but that one's like incredible. 4 plays in.
Absolutely, man. So do you got any other NFL takes? Any other thing you want to talk about NFL wise?
Yeah, just a quick
Justin Jefferson apparently is about to get the biggest non-quarterback deal in history, but I don't think he wants to stay in Minnesota, man.
No, I don't think so either. Is it like confirmed that he does? Is he going?
Well, because it's like he's kind of holding out because he wants a new contract, but I think at the same time, deep down, he really doesn't want to stay in Minnesota because he developed a good bond with Kirk. But the thing that sucks about Minnesota is that if they just had a phenomenal quarterback, they would probably be very unstoppable because they have a phenomenal defense. They showed that last year, and they have a very good receiving core. So I don't know, man. It's a weird situation to be in because he's like, honestly, probably one of the, if not the best wide receivers in the whole league. And it's like, he's such a difference maker.
By the way, I guess I will have one more football point here. I got a quick, because you reminded me with Justin Jefferson, thinking about like, some of these teams that are starting to tear. Let's be honest, they got rid of Kirk Cousins. It's not the same team anymore. You know what team I think will go off this year? Randomly will go off this year, and if they don't, I think they're going to blow it up after this year. Is I think the Bills got to do something, man. I'm not a Bills fan, but like, you're telling me if like they don't do anything with Josh Allen, like what is it, his 4th or 5th year into his contract now, or going into this upcoming season, like, dude, like Diggs isn't going to want to be there anymore. Like
he's already got traded.
He got traded
to Houston.
What? Oh, that's right. Yeah, to play with.
No, so that's why I made that face.
So
when you said the Bills were going off, that's why I made that face because like they got rid of everybody. So
they
literally,
like,
it's
right
Josh Allen and some scraps.
Wait, I'm trying to think of the date they did that.
I really think the pressure is going to be on Miami. I think Miami's going to win that division, man.
Okay, yeah, so that's what it was. It wasn't even a month after the Super Bowl. That's why I forgot so fast. It was so quick. It was.
So while I really want this Jets Aaron Rodgers thing to work, I really do think they miss the playoffs. I think the Dolphins win the division. I think the Bills end up very mid. But I think
Houston's going to go off now that I remembered all this. I completely forgot, bro. Damn, I actually am like shocked I forgot that because I remember him being like, even the last couple of years, so pissed off.
Well, I mean, but that's how irrelevant Stephon Diggs was for the Bills last year, too. So
exactly, yeah, he was, too.
But the games that I'm looking forward to the most are both in week 2. One of them being the Bengals and the Chiefs. I think that game, if they can re-sign T. Higgins, I think that game will tell a lot about where they are and what they might need to go off. But Joe Burrow is going to be healthy again. Every time he comes back, I mean, it's only been once before, but the last time he had a major injury, he came back and went off. I think that's going to happen again. I think it's going to be a good test against Patrick Mahomes and the defending champions. And I also got the Bears and the Texans. I think that's going to be a hell of a game. Caleb Williams, and that new Chicago Bears team going to a proven Texans team. I think that's going to be a shootout, in week 2. So those are definitely my games that I'm looking forward to the most.
I feel like it's a scary game if you're a Bears fan, though, because they could go really south really fast, though. I mean,
you just get your ass beat by Houston.
Yeah, I now that I'm kind of getting my bearings back here, yeah, I think Houston's honestly going to be insanely good this year. I got a crazy thing I saw the other day too on football. Do you know who the longest current tenured Giant is? There's actually two of them that are the same. Currently on the Giants, who's been there the longest?
Daniel Jones?
Yeah. Isn't that crazy to think about him and Lawrence?
Man, we could have a whole episode about me
I know.
shitting
I
on
just
the
figured
Giants, man.
I give
I
that
hate
last
those
little
guys.
tidbit. So
Well, because just like Daniel. Yeah. We're not gonna end this
I know
podcast
it
with
could be a
Giants
fucking.
talk.
I could talk.
We're gonna
about
end
that
this.
all day.
We're gonna end this podcast with. Hold on, I got a book right here.
You know what we can end it with? The Rangers lost Game 1 today against the Panthers. I'm not a hockey fan, but guess what, hockey fans? Don't be alarmed because I just saw that the Rangers also lost Game 1 at home in 1994. Baseball.
So I got this
days.
This random book that I got at Ocean State Job Lot for $5, like 15
That's
years
awesome.
ago or some shit. I was young for $5. My mom got it for me. And I was really young, but I'm gonna open it up to a random player, and it's gonna be Vladimir Guerrero. I got that jersey, by the way. So yeah, we're gonna end it with Vladimir Guerrero, and that's that. So everybody,
He's built different.
as long as we don't end it with the New York Giants, we're ending it with Vladimir Guerrero. So everyone, if you liked, make sure you guys like, subscribe, leave some feedback, share, get us out there. Thank you to all of our audio listeners. You guys are growing all over the world. We appreciate you guys. Everyone that tunes into us every day, stay on the wagon. We have a lot of good stuff coming because we got this sports show. Matt and I are going to be revamping a different conversation, so we have some cool stuff going on for that. Hey, me and Wolfie might get on and talk about some farm shit soon. You never know.
We'll definitely make a baseball game before the season ends too.
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone, night, day, whenever you're watching, have a good one, and we appreciate you guys.
Peace.